Hey guys, it's Darnell. Just wanted to let y'all guys know I went to my first group meeting last night, even post pre-op, and got a ton of information from going to these meetings. This meeting last night, and if you're out there, you're listening, and you're pre-op, and you kind of want to get a diverse view of attitudes of people who've had the surgery for different from different time periods. I think the earliest person at the meeting had theirs back in 2000. I think it was a bypass, and as much, and we went up. It's like 13 of us in there, and went all the way up to a lady who had hers 1 week prior. So we were Monday, she had hers the previous Monday, and she was out at the meeting and everything. And you got a whole bunch of different perspectives coming out of that meeting. I'm glad I took time out and went down there to sit in on it. As a pre-op, one, it kind of just reaffirmed my feelings about going ahead and getting this surgery done. We heard a ton of different stories from the people there, and was able to ask a couple of questions with folks and sit down and talk with them and stuff. And I'm sure as part of this journal is going to be me kind of getting back in with that group and going over a couple of things. We talked about plateauing and what people have seen as a plateau, which might not really be a plateau. It could be just a body adjustment period where your body starts to adjust and stuff, which was really interesting. And they gave us some information on how to kind of like work your way through that. And it's, basically go back and recreate good habits. And as long as you're creating and doing those good habits, you would find that the weight will flow off. So we're going to probably at some point have to test that as I speak with you today. It is September 17th. September 18th. And I'm literally less than 2 weeks out from my surgery. And I go in tomorrow morning, and we get our whole day of pre-op, meetings, talking with the anesthesiologist, talking with everybody, back with the behavior therapist, back to the nutritionist, meet with the doctor's assistant, go back over everything with them, just to make sure everything is lined up. Find out what my do's and don'ts are leading up to the surgery, and my weekend, that weekend prior to the surgery is going to be, I guess, where all the magic takes place. Whether it be not eating, liquid diet, whatever they tell me, we're going to make this happen. We've been doing a good job making that happen. It's weird because I got on the scale this morning, and I was at 388, which is, means my body is, still, trickling down a little bit, which was good. Got in, and so I just say, if I can have the surgery, get some of these big drops, and get my body reset at a, more than adequate weight for myself, I think it's still be well worth it. So yeah, like I said, last night's meeting was really good because I had a lady there who lost was 180 pounds she lost, and she's still trying to lose weight. And then I had a guy who lost 140 pounds, 145 pounds. He put back on about 40 pounds, and then dropped back down another 20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds, and was happy there. He was like, listen, he got down to 200, 199, 200, and he said his body didn't feel right, so he let himself go a little bit, got up to 240, didn't feel right up there, and then he drifted back down between 220, 225, And he said, to me, that felt right. This is where my body belongs. This is where I feel healthiest and stuff. And, and I was like, so you're gonna see the difference. Like I said, it was a young lady there who, to look at her, and she's like, I'm 175. I was like, you must be carrying a couple of bricks in your pocket, because for sure as heck, she did not look like she weighed anything. A stone, as one would say, over like maybe 140, tops 145, and she's like 175, and I'm like, she must have some really good base muscle in there, and that's how I look at people for weights and stuff. But it is just like, and she's like still trying to lose a couple more pounds and stuff. So, and they pointed that out. They's like, you know what? Don't always look at just the number. Don't always just look at BMI. What you're trying to do is get yourself to a position and point where you want to be healthy. You feel healthy. You feel sustainable and stuff. And I like I said, I had to take that to heart. Another guy came up and he was in there and he was like, listen, he said he got addicted to his scale, and he basically allowed the scale to dictate his mood for the day, So he gets on there. He was, he was a pound heavier than yesterday or whatever. He gained a pound. He was like, I was doing what I was supposed to do. How can I gain a pound back? Blah, 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 blah. And stuff. And then the next day he'll be a pound down, and he's like the happiest person in the world. And so he tied his whole expectations up into the scale to the point he literally threw the scale away just for his own sanity. He said, and I thought that was a great story, because I think we do get trapped in our own addictions. I'm talking about that just from having lost weight in the past. I mean, and stuff. It's like you get caught up in these things, tracking on the scale every day, doing, like I said, it can drive you nuts. Another young lady talks about, how, she lost, she lost about 120 pounds and so, and this is like coming up on her anniversary. So in a year, she lost about 120 pounds, and she literally, she says, every time I look in the mirror, I keep seeing the fat girl or the big girl. You know what I'm saying? I keep seeing myself unchanged. And she was like, not until I looked at pictures, of me last year this time and me this year this time, can I actually see that I made these accomplishments. I did these things. And again, I think some of that comes from that mental programming, that false expectation, what we expect, unrealistic expectations of ourselves or something. Because I was like, I'm looking at her, and she's like a nice looking lady, You're not skinny by any means, but she's still on her journey. But it was like, wow, and she's like saying, and that's how it is. And it went back to a friend of mine who I talked to, who told me the exact same story about how when she looks in the mirror, she still sees the big girl, the same big girl. And I'm like saying to her, I was saying, I said, you haven't been that person in like 7-8 years. You haven't even been that person. You're half yourself from when I first met her, and stuff. And she still sees herself as that big girl. And she just haven't accepted that that's not who she is anymore. She's not that size anymore and stuff. And I mean, this is over 7-8 years ago. No, actually, because I was talking with her today, she was 11 years ago, because she was 43 when she had the surgery. She just turned 54, and stuff. So it's almost 11 years. So for 12 years, she hasn't been that person and stuff. And I'm telling you, it's like wow, and she was telling me that story a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it. Talk about me going in for the surgery and how she was happy for me that I was going ahead and getting this thing done and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, And I told her, I said, I wish I did it when you did it. And she's like, saying, everybody got to come to it on their own time. They got to come to it on their own time. And I thought that was one of the coolest things that it is. But like I said, there's so much information I thought I gained last night in just attending one of these groups. And it also emboldened me a little bit on getting this thing done, because I know there's a support group of people out there who are going to be around. And it's not like I get the surgery and then I'm on my own. And, I get the surgery. There's people out there who've been through this and are going to have gone through all the things I'm about to go through, and are willing to help me out, talk with me about it and things. So, I'm psyched. I'm really, like I said, I'm really happy that I found this group and stuff, and it's put up my carrier's Tufts. I'm with Tufts plan, healthcare plan, and they have groups if you're in the Boston area. I know they have one in Boston. They have a couple, one down in Plymouth, another one down in Raynham, Mass. If you're happen to be in the Mass, Boston area. But, I'd say, hey guys, if it's out there, you got a chance, find a group that's working and work with them. So like I said, I'm psyched because I met a lot of people last night who going through or have gone through what I'm about to go through. And you know what? They invented wheels, I can plop one on my car and use it, or I can try to go, carve me one out of stone. I'd rather just pick one up down at, Pep Boys or, Costco. So like I said, and again, it's another tool that we have in our toolbox, and I'm going to go ahead and use that tool as much as humanly possible. Have some people to lean on, even if it's not, your family members, there's still people out there to lean on and combat ignorance is all I could say. And the people who don't know and want to give you advice about what they don't know, so I'm in this off by saying, if is a group out around you, if you feel like you're out there on the limb, whatever, I said go find one of these groups in your area. Try to check with the local hospitals who do the different surgeries and everything, who do the bypass, who do the weight loss surgeries, and find out there's some groups around that are meeting, and plug in if you need that type of support. Like I said, I think I'm gonna try to stay plugged in with this group here, because that's why I've met up with a bunch of good people last night, and I think I can lean on them for a little bit until I can support myself, and then maybe turn around and help support others. So that's the end of this journal entry.